Hi guys, Nicole Sachs here to introduce our first truth warrior, Joe. I am recording a brief introduction to Joe's video just to express my admiration for Joe and for everyone who is brave and willing enough to embrace a perhaps. To embrace perhaps, even though it doesn't sound like what I've been taught my whole life, that an emotional exercise can cure a physical condition, I'm going to make a leap of faith and I'm going to try. I'm going to try to do my journal speak. I'm going to try to embrace that my physical problems can be affected by my emotional work and see the potential miracle that exists in me. When Joe contacted me, his letter was so powerful, I just had to reach back out. And he was gracious and willing enough to record a video for this channel, which I will now debut here. Joe is my first official truth warrior, but I hope to have many more. If you're interested in joining this project, as many of you have written to me with your beautiful stories, if you're willing to put yourself out there, please write me an email at thecureforchronicpain@gmail.com, and I would be so happy to engage in a dialogue with you, answer your questions, and help you bring your story forth to help others. And here, today, I give you Joe.
Hi, my name is Joe Tugnon, and I am a truth warrior with my own story of chronic pain recovery using Nicole's work. I'm reading my notes here. When I was first made an honorary truth warrior, I thought to myself, warrior, huh? Sounds mighty. Then I remembered this is the author who wrote the book daring to call itself The Meaning of Truth, with the subtitle, Embrace Your Truth, Create Your Life. And I thought, well, that's presumptuous. And then you read the book and realize that the truth to curing chronic pain is very real, and this is not a joke. She builds on Dr. Sarno's work, and that's the reason that I can't recommend her strongly enough. She builds perfectly and fills in the doing part of Sarno's work. So my story actually follows her videos, not the book, but whatever path you find that works for you, as long as you find it, because she actually has 3 ways for you to get started. She's got her YouTube channel, which is what I used, her website, and her book. I found her YouTube videos just perfect, nice and short for people with short attention spans like mine. So let me give you my story, please. It's important. This is life-changing stuff. This is not a joke. So, 20 years ago, I had chronic lower back pain. And I just dealt with it until one day, I'm an IT server engineer, by the way. I was picking up a heavy server. I balanced it on one leg and I shook it out of its box. Sounds smart? Yeah, it smarted. From that moment until about 3 months later, I went from pain to no sensation at all in my right leg. I had an MRI done and they found an L3, L4 herniation that was so protruded it broke off and landed on the sciatic nerve. So after a while, it didn't hurt. It was beyond pain already. The pain kind of went away, but so did the sensation in my right leg. I literally couldn't feel my right leg. When I would step down on a curb or try to trot across the street to avoid traffic, I would stumble. And this was not good. This is not acceptable. So they tried everything. Physical therapy, electric stimulation, massage, medication, and my favorite, 3 epidurals. You know, those spinal injections. And if that wasn't bad enough, one of the anesthesiologists must have been a novice because he spent about 20 minutes poking my spine looking for the disc. Yeah, my lower back looked like Swiss cheese when he was done. But it gets better. Even after those 3 epidurals, nothing happened. Nothing. I mean, my leg was as limp as ever. I had no choice, so I went under the knife. And I had the L3, L4 lumbar microdiscectomy. Okay. And lo and behold, I could feel my leg again. So that's great. I wish that was all there is to it. But another side effect after the surgery was that my lower back started hurting worse than it had before. And my back would pull every couple of months, you know what I mean, causing that pain so sharp that I would be bedridden for about 48 hours. Then I couldn't walk straight for like another 2 or 3 days. Then I wouldn't be back to normal, with just a mild annoying pain for about another week. So this would happen every couple of months, okay? As the years went by, that pulling of the back would happen less and less often, so I figured, great, I'm slowly but surely healing. But I could never get to the point where I could jog or play basketball anymore. This was very, very depressing because I was only in my 30s. I'm in my 50s now, and basketball was like my only sport. Anyway, in my 40s, the pain subsided enough that I could at least do my real passion, which was play music. Specifically, play my guitar standing up, not sitting down because it hurt too much. I gigged as a solo acoustic guitarist professionally for about 10 years, and they were the most fulfilling years of my life. I found my soulmate. I was a happy dad of 2 kids. I had not one but 2 jobs, and life, for the most part, was good. There was some bad stuff, but let's put that aside. In fact, that's exactly what I did. I put the bad stuff aside, or I should say, I stuffed it inside, way down inside. Fast forward to a couple of years ago. Again, I'm in my 50s now, and I'm at a gig. At the end of the gig, I pick up a couple of guitars while I'm packing, and I sneeze. For the first time in a couple of years, my back pulls again. I was like, oh no. I thought, it would be a lot longer before I ever had that happen again. I had a gig the next day, and I muscled through it in pain. And that would be my last gig. Well, I haven't gigged since. The next 2 weeks saw my back hurting worse and worse. I wasn't getting better like I usually would after a back pull. So one day I'm in the bathroom, leaning against the wall, doing my thing. It's great to be a guy. I finish peeing, and when I put I was leaning against the wall, I put my arm down, and I felt that sharp pain, another back pull, and I wasn't finished recovering from the previous back pull. And I thought, seriously? And this one was bad. Probably the worst one until what was about to happen. Then it was about to go down. I call my wife and tell her I need her assistance just to go down the stairs. I take one step and my life stopped. I felt a pain in my back that was the most excruciating sensation I've ever felt. It's what they call a back spasm. Sounds so common and so whatever. Oh, he had a back spasm. Yeah, no. Have you ever put your finger in a socket, like an electrical socket, and your whole body, that like a lightning bolt rushing through you? So imagine that in your lower back. You have an electric prong going into your lower back. And every time you move, if you so much as move your pinky, the shock comes back. You know that like, I don't know how else to put it. It's words don't cut it. Your life stops. You're frozen. So I'm on the floor. I hit the floor and I beg my wife, grab a pillow, put it under my head, grab another one, put it under my feet to avoid my back from arching. Okay? I had to be kind of hunched over to try to keep the pinch from happening. And I can't move from this position. Again, I can't even move my pinky. I'm literally paralyzed with pain. Then something worse happened that I didn't think was possible. Even in that position, that safe, almost fetal-like position, the spasms started coming again and again every minute and would last about 10 or 12 seconds. I can't tell you, I mean, I'm not trying to be dramatic here. My wife had to stand there and see this. I was utterly helpless, and so was she. I feel so bad, that she go through that. And I was like, call 911. I can't take it. Call 911. It's like a knife turning in your back. After about 5 minutes of this, I was dizzy enough that I'm like, that's it. I'm gonna pass out. I can't take this much physical pain. It was just so gripping. So I told my wife in very short breaths, don't be scared. I'm going to pass out. I mean, I can't. I already did my crying this morning about this. That's another story. You got to the this is all leading to Nicole's method of journaling. Incredible therapy. Steam valve, like she calls it. Anyway, I'm halfway through the story. Bear with me. This is just so important. If you're going through chronic pain, you're not bored by this story, are you? If you're bored by the story, it's because you haven't been through this or anything like this. If you've been through it, you're like this. Because that's how I was watching everybody else's videos describing their pain and their recovery story. It's like, is there really hope? Oh, yes. So anyway, the paramedics get there. They put me on a stretcher as that awesome electricity is shooting through my spine, and I'm ambulanced to the hospital. They pump me full of that thing called Dilaudid. Oh yeah, happy land. They did an MRI and they found, yay, another herniation. You know, that thing I had surgery for already? Only this time it's L4, L5. Awesome. But this time the doctor comes in and he says it was, and I quote, a not impressive herniation. Where's my part? Bam, 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 bam. He goes, it's not even a disc herniation, it's more like a disc bulge. And I'm like, not impressive. That's awesome. It only feels like lightning shooting up my spine. I'm sorry you're not impressed. I can't even freaking move, okay? So anyway, so they have to ambulance me back home when the painkillers did their thing, and they lay me down, and I've got my regimen of painkillers, anti-inflammatories, and then the constipation from the painkillers. Yeah, and I've already got back problems, right? So I'm sorry to get graphic, but part of this lovely story involves an enema, finally being able to crap, and guess what happens when I'm finally able to crap? Yes, another spasm. Back in the hospital. Life is really awesome right now. Good times. And can I tell you something during this heart-warming story? You know what was worse than the pain? The weakness. Okay? The weakness. I felt like I was dying. Okay? I could barely raise my arms. I looked emaciated. I couldn't eat. I couldn't go to the bathroom. And the painkillers and the anti-inflammatories and the muscle relaxants, I was like, I felt like it was horrible. It's like I didn't feel fully conscious. Horrible, horrible feeling. So 2 weeks later, I'm home. I'll fast forward to the end now. Sorry for the drawn out story, but it's important so that you understand the miracle I'm living today. For the last 20 months, I've been to therapists, pain doctors, surgeons, prayer groups, had x-rays, MRIs, another steroid injection, and even a SPECT scan to rule out cancer or tumors. Nothing worked again. One specialist, spinal specialist, even told me, look, you have degenerative disc disease, and you're going to have to get used to this. Learn Pilates and start working on your core as a way of life. So my depression just plummeted, went through the ceiling. The pain was becoming more unbearable, accompanied now by a new numbness in the legs. Sound familiar? Mm-hmm. Now, I love working out, so core exercises sounded fun. It sounded great. I'm like, sign me up. But on some days, I needed a walker just to move around the house, let alone try to do strength exercises. So the strength never came, and I was literally wasting away. And it was bringing down everybody around me. I could see it in their faces. How could I do this to them? The only resort at this point, one pain specialist told me, was a somewhat risky surgery. This one was called a discography. But to even get approved for this type of procedure, which by the way was no guarantee, I had to have another procedure called a discogram, where they insert needles into several discs to see which one of my 3 degenerated discs was the problem. A painful procedure, I was told, that would last about 20 minutes. Awesome. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Stop. I'm done. I'm done. I need a break. I asked the doctor, in all sincerity, I said, do you see any risk in me just taking some time to myself? I need a break from all the testing and probing and prodding and being told maybe this, maybe that. I can't take it anymore. And he told me, thank God he did, he said, yes, I don't see a problem. I can't see a major structural risk here, just a disc bulge from an annular tear and 3 degenerated discs. And I'm like, oh, is that all? I mean, it sounds horrible. But I took the break. I needed it. One day my mom comes over and drops off a book, another book, for me to read on back pain. Again, I'm done with the back. I need a mental break. Needless to say, I was not receptive. So no more right now, please. Then in desperation, poor thing, my wife starts to read it because she needs something. I mean, she's watching me suffer and hoping to find something, anything that we hadn't already tried. Well, I wasn't going to let her read it and then not read it myself, so I started reading it myself. Ladies and gentlemen, I spent $7 or something on Amazon getting the book Healing Back Pain by Dr. John E. Sarno. 3 weeks later, I jogged for the first time in 11 years. This morning, I played basketball, not competitively, just shooting baskets, for the first time in 12 years. But my story isn't complete without Nicole Sachs filling in the gap on how to apply Dr. Sarno's principles. I was so happy to learn about TMS because it was like, that's it. I knew it. It's one of those things like you hear it described and it clicks. That's me. That's what no other doctor's telling me. Okay? Watch the 2020 video, listen to the Howard Stern interview on YouTube with Dr. Sarno. Friggin' awesome. I mean, if you're going through what I'm going through, you're gonna know this guy has his finger right on your problem. Okay? It's not a structurally compromised back. Degenerated discs are like gray hairs, people. Okay? Everyone gets them. Same thing with herniated discs. Yes, sounds horrible, like hernia. Bad name, man. It's not serious. As the good doctor said, the knowledge of this is the penicillin. Just knowing it got me off my feet, like Jesus raising a cripple. It was that dramatic. And I'm not kidding. I got up and started walking around as if a miracle healer just laid his hands on me. And hallelujah, I'm freaking walking again, up and down the stairs, not holding the rail. Unbelievable. That's how effective knowing what's going on woke me up. My wife, my mother, and my daughter were scared. It just wasn't right. I'm suddenly walking around. They were scared for me. You're going to hurt yourself. Well, it wasn't Jesus, it was Sarno. And I wasn't a cripple, I was herniated. But as an aside, it sure shed some light for me on the whole Jesus thing, being a Christian. But that's a whole nother story. I mean, I see, my Savior in a whole new light, but a whole nother story. The point is that unlike the cripple, I didn't just get up and go home. No, I had some crap to go through. I had about 3 or 4 days of the most excruciating back pain as a result of resuming normal activity like Dr. Sarno said I should. Okay? It was risky, but I had faith. I just knew he knew what my problem was. He had the right diagnosis. So I did away with my back cushion and my ice and my heat, and I sat up in a chair, and it hurt like hell. Okay? It hurt like hell. It was more agony than I had been through, barely, almost as the back spasms, like right up there. And it was just like, like a freaking board in my back. And I was like typing at my computer, doing my work, and I was like, but I just freaking knew. I knew it wasn't dangerous. And I knew my brain was trying to get my mind off of negative things. It was a protective mechanism. I just believed. And you know what? I admit it was sheer desperation that got me to believe and hit rock bottom. Okay? But you know, when you hit rock bottom, there's only one way to go. Or like Tom Hanks and John Lovitz said, playing that funny couple of characters in SNL back in the 90s. There's only one way to go when you hit rock bottom. They're trying to pick up girls. But then the other one, being negative, says, or we could stay just where we are. Oh, yeah. But no, not this guy. I hit rock bottom because there's only one place to go from there, and that's back up. Nicole asks the brutal question, how long do you want to suffer? That sounds mean to a person with chronic pain until they understand the answer given by John Sarno. It's not mean at all. It's a very fair and, damn it, it's an important question. How long do you want to suffer? Okay, I'm not playing around here. This is your life. Do you like being in chronic pain? I didn't. 20 months of it. 20 months of intense chronic pain. 20 years of nagging chronic pain with the occasional back pull. But 20 months where I was a semi-disabled. I couldn't do it. I see people in wheelchairs more productive than I was. Doing their thing, limited, but not suffering in pain. And some of them even happy. And I'm like, why am I not at least like that? Because I was in pain, and the pain became everything. My whole life revolved around my back. God, I love the sound of that. Revolved around my back. Steam. Okay, so sorry, but I forget. You're not bored. You're loving this, aren't you? You're loving it because you know that your cure and your healing is right around the corner because you know nobody's paying me to do this. This is not an infomercial. This is a real person talking to you with a real cure. His name is Sarno, followed up by a good dose of Nicole to get you on your feet again. Now, again, Nicole asked the brutal question, how long do you want to suffer? And I'm like, you know what? I'm done suffering. Yeah, thanks. But the question remained, what can I do? I had the knowledge. I saw that Dr. Sarno's treatment only works if you believe in his diagnosis of TMS. If you doubt it, it won't work. That's a critical key. But for someone like me, I needed to do something. I couldn't just believe it. I did believe it because I read it and boom, my pain was like almost gone. But not quite. There was still that pain to go through of getting used to resuming normal activity. So what could I do to help it along? I'm a doer, okay? And along came Nicole. God bless you, Nicole. She worked with Dr. Sarno and has a devastatingly simple system on how to get the suppressed emotions that cause chronic pain to flush out of your system. It sounds too easy because you might think it's just journaling. No, it's not. The difference between journaling and what she calls journal speak is kind of like the difference between tossing a baseball back and forth and tossing that baseball over a cliff. Okay? That baseball is your repressed emotion that causes you back pain. I'll keep that part a surprise for those of you who haven't gone through her system. But she said 3 magic words that got my attention. I love you. No, I'm just kidding. No, the 3 words that she said were do the work. Do the work. She said the system only works if you do the work. And I love that because I'm a doer. It's like I love reading The Cure. Dr. Sarno, it's like sorry to use a Christian analogy, but that's my background. It's like hearing the gospel for the first time. You heard the good news, and then you have to ask, well, what must I do? How do I follow this guy? How do I follow the cure to my chronic back pain? And that's where Nicole came in with a perfect prescription. So, okay, so you know that TMS is especially prone to us perfectionist types and us what Sarno calls goodists. Okay, I love that. But some of us need to do something about our pain once we see what's causing it. And this is where I'm grateful to Nicole for her generosity in exposing this method on YouTube for free. Thank you again, Nicole. I immediately got your book, her book, The Truth, The Meaning of Truth, to support her and to feel like she was talking to me. Get the book. It's incredibly one-on-one feeling. It's like you're sitting there with her. It doesn't read like a book. Some people might not like it because of that. I loved it. It's like she's sitting there in front of you. Like, forget the structure you're supposed to use in a book. Anyway, let me wrap up. I'm done here. I just want to describe what happened in the 2 weeks, 3 weeks now that I've been journal speaking. By the way, it's been 4 weeks since I read Healing Back Pain. I'm still a baby, but I'm cured. I'm cured. And now I'm healing. I still have pain, but it's tolerable, and I'm able to do more. And I just know I am going to do a follow-up video in a few weeks to tell you, in all honesty, whether I'm in less pain or not. Okay? Because I tell my wife now, I still have pain, but I'm already cured. And now it's just a matter of healing. It's like I already had my real mind-body surgery, if you will. And now my body needs to heal for the first time for real. Or as Nicole puts in one of her awesome paragraphs in her book, a paragraph composed of 2 words. For reals. All right, I'm wrapping up. So in those 3 weeks that I've been journal speaking, I cried. I told you I cried this morning. I'm not a crier. You have to understand this. I've laughed out loud. My heart has pumped so hard with rage that I was afraid would literally hurt someone, either through my words or my fists. And I learned that it's okay. Nicole reminded me that emotions aren't dangerous. Suppressing them, that's dangerous. Do you hear that, all of you alt-writers or anti-fossers? Okay? Apropos for what's going on now, maybe you need to do some journal speaking so that your hate doesn't come out in physical acts. You know what I'm saying? But I digress. Nicole taught me how to throw that baseball off the cliff, and it's life-changing. Okay? Thank you, Nicole. I hope this video inspires you who are looking into a way of implementing Dr. Sarno's principles. I believe I found my way for life in Nicole's method. But the bottom line is, the proof is in the pudding. I gotta go now because I'm gonna jog for a little bit. How you like them apples? Thanks for watching. And God bless you, Nicole.